Loving, loving Sai Ram, Sister Seema Dewan, the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council of Trinidad and Tobago lovingly welcomes you to the series Awake, Unite and Inspire. We are extremely blessed, fortunate and honored through Swami's grace and blessings to have you as our guest on this evening's program. So welcome. Sister Seema, when the request was made to do this interview on Awake, Unite and Inspire, Swami gave you not only the approval, but he also provided the date and time. And only afterwards, I found out that it fell on Avatar Declaration Day. What a divine blessing it is to
For
have
sure.
you on this auspicious day as our guest.
Thank you so much, Brother Faiz. This is an absolute honor for me to be with you. Um, Everything that happens, I think, in each one's life happens with Swami's grace. I guess Swami has given me a little more awareness right now to be able to connect with him for every small thing that I do in my life. So it's an absolute honor for me to be on your show, and I know this is definitely Swami's will. This is an absolutely a wonderful day for us to have a satsang with each other. I cannot even imagine a more blessed day than this, than to speak of the glory of God together and laugh together and cry together, remembering all our past experiences. So I really thank you for this opportunity. And I send my namaskar and my love out to all in Trinidad and Tobago who are listening and anywhere in the world. I'm so happy to be amongst all of you. I mean, I cannot even imagine how much grace is pouring upon your country, where Swami's presence is definitely certain. And so before I start, I'll do a small little prayer. Is that okay, Brother Faiz? And then we can begin. I want to start with the Gayatri Mantra. I'll tell you the significance of why I want to start with the Gayatri Mantra and how Swami initiated us in the Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhur Bhuvassuvaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dearest Bhagwan, I thank you for this wonderful opportunity to be with Brother Faiz together today. I really feel that honored by that your grace is with us, and that at every point of our conversation, your presence is going to be certain with us. Thank you, Bhagwan. I offer myself, my gratitude, and my heart at your holy lotus feet.
So, Sister Seema, you were going to say why it is you started with the Gayatri Mantra.
Yes. Bhagwan initiated our family in the Gayatri Mantra. Until then, I didn't know the strength of this mantra until Bhagwan initiated us into it. It was in one of our interviews when we had gone in there, and I used to joke a lot with Swami, laugh a lot with Swami, and I was talking about Swami, when are you going to do the thread ceremony of the children? And he said, why thread ceremony? I'll do their wedding ceremony too. And I said, okay, Swami, I'll wait for those blessings. And then suddenly he smiled and he looked at the children and he said, do you know Gayatri Mantra? And the children said, yes, Swami. He said, okay. And then he said, will repeat after me. And then my husband was there and I was there too. And he smiled and he started, and I don't know how to explain this to you. When the Lord comes, today is the Avatar Declaration Day, right? And on this day, his sister-in-law saw the effulgence or the halo around his head. And that's why I'm starting with the Gayatri, because that was the darshan that she received that day, was of the Gayatri, the effulgence, the supreme consciousness, around his head. So when he started it, we were sitting right at his feet, and I was very close and I could see his eyes. And when he started and he said, Om Bhur, his eyes started lighting. There was a brilliance that was coming out from his eyes, and my hands were joined. And I thought to myself at that time, I had seen Swami only initiating boys in the Gayatri mantra, and I was thinking to myself, should I also repeat in this? So I started very softly inside myself. I started inside myself saying, Om, Bhur, and so he's doing Om, Bhur, and he's looking, and he straight, and his eyes looked at me, and they were brilliant, absolutely. And so I thought for a second that, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. So I kept silent, and he had come to the Tat that time, and he pointed and he said, Tat. So I started Tat, Savitur, and then my husband also started. And so he initiated 3 times. And as I still get goosebumps right now, as he was chanting the Gayatri, the effulgence in his face, I cannot explain it to you. I mean, it was like 1,000 headlights that was in his face. His face turned golden, and on the rims of his hair, on the circle of his hair, there was a light that I could start seeing forming. And when you start seeing something like that, your heart rate goes. My heart rate was, I think, at 1,000 that day. I just was not able to believe that I was seeing Mother Gayatri right in front of me sitting down. And he did it 3 times, looking at each one of us, staring at each one of us. And then when he would come to me, because of the fear that I had that I'm a lady and I should say, he would again go back, and especially to the word Tat, he would come to me and point it back. Tat, that you are, that I am, Tat. And so it was the most, when I think of that experience even now, it amazes me, and I feel from the bottom of my heart at that time that we had the darshan of the goddess Gayatri right in front of us. It was absolutely beautiful to see.
Sister Seema, it is so divinely coincidental that only a couple of nights ago on the Sri Sathya Sai Media Center, Brother Bishu had a brand new interview on the power, he called it 24G,
Yes.
the power of the Gayatri Mantra. And I watched it with rapt attention, the tremendous benefits at all levels that Swami has given when you chant the Gayatri Mantra with the proper intonation, the bhav, the bhakti. So many benefits accrue physically, spiritually, emotionally, the power of discrimination, memory power, the ability to discern. And the strangest thing, Sister Seema, is when I came into contact with Swami in 1979, it's the only mantra that I use. It's like a one-stop mantra for everything. While I'm taking the bath, while I'm eating food, while I'm driving, it's only the Gayatri mantra. And recently, one of the students shared that the importance of the proper pronunciation. So what I do now is I play Swami chanting it and I follow him directly so that I can benefit from the proper pronunciation. And here it is. So beautifully you've explained how important it is. And then Swami himself the source of it, chanting it for you. What a blessing.
And not only that, he said to us, when you chant it, you can chant it aloud, but the merit is greater when you chant it silent in your mind, he said. He said it starts absorbing every negative vibration of the mind, and it calms and silences the mind. And a lot of times, he will come to me in the night when I'm deep asleep. It has come to the point where when I don't have to make an aware, I don't chant the Gayatri thinking about it. I'll be deep in my sleep and my mind will be completely rested, and I'm hearing him chant the Gayatri inside of me as he chanted for us on that day. That same Om. I'm in my deep sleep. And sometimes I'll wake up in my deep sleep and say, "Oh, Swami, you're chanting," and I will go back to sleep. And I'll say, "That's what I was hearing." So, it's not even the experience that we had of the Gayatri, where he chanted the Gayatri, was not only at that moment. That present moment continues to be the present moment even now. So God is beyond past, present, and future, because that experience that has happened is not even coming to me as a recollection or something that I'm remembering. It's coming as though it's happening to me right at that point. When it happened to me in 2006, it's happening back again, and it's without me even trying to recollect it. It just keeps happening. So it's wonderful. Swami said, even the children of Trinidad and Tobago, when you have young adults there, if you teach them the chant of the Gayatri, a lot of changes will occur even in them. So that will be that's why I wanted to start with this, hoping that the children there take on the chanting of the Gayatri.
Well, certainly, Seema, Sister Seema, we are going to promote and encourage that as much as possible. We have done it a lot in our radio programs. We've had Gayatri chanting sessions done by centers every week. But I think the importance of it is so significant and impactful that, as you said, especially for the young adults too, that we all need to chant it regularly with bhav, with the proper pronunciation and intonation to receive the fullest benefit. And then, as Swami said, you could forget any other mantra, but don't forget the Gayatri. It's the essence of the Vedas.
It heals you instantly, absolutely, mentally, physically, and it takes you to a different level of spirituality where there is a complete calmness, and you can actually feel I call it the soul speaking, but I know the Lord speaks in every soul. In every soul, you'll be able to hear his voice and his direction towards you. His direction and his guidance will become very definitive if you take on the chanting of the Gayatri on a regular basis.
And then, Sister Seema, can you share a little bit? Swami has also said that it protects you from all different kinds of harm, negative vibrations, physical harm. So wherever you may be, the Gayatri mantra creates that aura of protection around you at all levels.
Yes, it actually it forms like a shield or an armor around you. It creates instant. The first thing you will realize as you chant it over a long period of time, it creates instant calmness. The calmness of the mind is the number one thing that you will realize. Once the mind becomes calm, you realize that a lot of the sicknesses that you're suffering from can reduce or be eliminated. So that's the power of the Gayatri mantra. It first helps your mind to calm down. And after your mind is calmed down, the body is created from the mind. So the body starts healing on its own. You'll start giving up your medications. It can help eyesight. It can help heart, circulation, nervous system. So so negative vibrations are not ever external. They are created by our own selves, by our own minds that we carry. So once it starts healing the mind, then automatically the shield becomes your own calmness or thought process where you can see clearly what you're thinking is not you. You're able to witness your thoughts. You're able to see your thoughts not as yourself, and hence you're able to differentiate yourself from the thoughts. And automatically, the negative energy that you're creating from within your own self starts subduing. So it's and you get a high level of awareness, a high level of consciousness. You start expanding your life that is so locked in as your life, my family, my children, my job, my wealth, all that starts breaking. And there is an expansive feeling where you realize that you have not come for the small tiny purpose of running a household and being in the constant routine of life. There is much more to life than that. We are much more than what we think and we feel and who we are. So your own inner soul starts telling you who you are. Who am I? The question Swami asks, who am I, who am I, who am I, comes from this wonderful mantra that you chant. The constant chanting of the mantra eliminates all the background noise. And the background noise, when I talk about, is not the external outside background noise. The background noise is inside of you. That itself silences. Once that silences, that which is already within you, the truth, the wisdom that we love so much, when we hear a saint speaking something profound, we feel so happy. The reason we are connecting with it, Swami used to always say, the reason you're connecting with it is already within you. You're appreciating what is already within it, except it's like a fountain coming out at that time within you. And we are not able to experience it all the time. We experience it for a second and then again return to the mind. But the chanting of the Gayatri, especially if you do it 3 times a day, and Swami said you don't have to do it 108 times, morning, evening, and it's not the time, it's not the number of times you do it. You can even do it once, 3 times, but if you do it right from the center of your being, you'll find a difference in your own self without any changes in your life outside. And that's the miracle about it. It's not that anything outside of your life changed at all. You start eliminating things. It's like how we throw out trash. We start throwing out we are accumulating a lot of trash inside of us. And slowly we start eliminating. The Gayatri Mantra gives you so much steadfastness and takes you so much to the center of your being that you start realizing that your own mind is not the center. You start going away from your own thoughts and you are able to see your thoughts and eliminate your thoughts. You're able to witness your thoughts. Usually we become so part of our thoughts and we get so engrossed in our thoughts, and we can eliminate one thought and then again the next thought that comes, we become a part of it. But once you start chanting the Gayatri, you're able to, with steadfastness, you're able to observe the mind at every second without feeling afraid that you're part of it.
Very, very beautiful. And Sister Seema, so strange that you said that, because today was an extremely busy day. And I was making sure that the preparation for this interview was, to the very best, because it's Swami. And just about 3:30, my mind was a little bit restless. It was a little bit jumping here and there. And I just sat by the altar and I put on the Gayatri mantra for just 15 minutes. And immediately, as you said, there was a calmness that descended and so much peace came from
That's why he maybe asked me, because I had not decided to start with it, but because my Gayatri initiation was much later in my interviews or in my but he said no, if you're starting, you must start with the Gayatri, the initiation. You must start with having a mind that is calm, and that's what takes you to the center of your being. So that's why I started in a different route.
Yes, yes. And as we said, Swami is the one who will divinely orchestrate this interview and what he wants to be said. And it was, again, divine orchestration that we speak about it, because only 2 nights ago we were discussing, my wife and I, when we looked at Brother Vishu's interview, how powerful, how many benefits accrue to the individual of the awakening of the inner self when you chant the Gayatri.
And it is a perfect day too, because Brother Faiz, this was the day where he showed himself as the Gayatri Mother too. He himself showed himself as the Gayatri Mother, as the effulgence. When he sings Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam, you know, he's telling us that, hey, I have come now. Now that you're in this ocean, we are all in the same boat. And I'm going to row your boat, but we are going to go through the waves. We are going to go through the ups and downs, but we are going to make it, you know. And that's why it's the most beautiful way. And that's the reason I wanted to also start it, because you said the young children there, if they start early,
Yeah.
it helps a lot.
Well, thank you so much, Sister Seema, for sharing that. And, as we talk about Avatar Declaration Day, there's this beautiful saying of Swami about why he has come. And if you can share and expand a little bit on the meaning of this particular statement. And these are his exact words. He says, I have a task to foster all mankind and ensure for all people lives full of ananda. I have a vow to lead all who stray away from the straight path again into goodness and save them. I am attached to a work that I love to remove the suffering of the poor and grant them what they lack. I have a reason to be proud, for I rescue all who worship and adore me aright. I have a definition of devotion. I expect that those devoted to me treat joy and grief, gain and loss with equal fortitude.
You know, for me, even to say anything about this is so perfect in its own that for me to comment on this would be very tiny and small. But all I can say is that when you read this, when you hear of a declaration like this, it fills your being. You automatically you automatically want to stop straying from what you're straying. You want to do things that are right. Swami's words are so powerful that it takes you to a moment of silence. You know, when Swami used to even speak during interviews and talk to me during interviews, I used to decide so many things that I'll ask him this and I'll say this, but small things that he used to say, are you happy? You know, things like that used to fill the center of my being. So yes, this is a very powerful declaration of Bhagwan, and I don't know um, how to make it so self-explanatory, and it reaches the center of your being so strongly that I don't know how to um, even explain this. I would break this further down. Um, it would not have the substance if I broke it down. So at this point, I think I'll just leave it at the declaration that we should read it over and over again, and that his mission was to make us joyful. His mission was to take us inward. His mission was to keep us always happy and joyful inside. That was Swami's main. He started every interview when he spoke to us. He would ask us the first thing, are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? So I think loving God, spirituality, all of the religions, all of the sadhanas that we do is to reach happiness and joy. And happiness and joy comes from loving God and seeing God's love for you. That's all. Otherwise, this statement is so complete on its own, Brother Faiz. I don't know how to expand on this. It would be foolish for me to expand on this. It's taking me so much inward that I'm finding it hard for me to even speak about it. I think it's complete in its own.
Mm. And Sister Seema, you mentioned also while you were sharing from the last answer that you become like a witness now to the thoughts, the emotions, and the feelings that arise within. And it brings to mind what Swami had said about equanimity when he said, let the wave of memory, the storm of desire, and the fire of emotion pass through your system without affecting your equanimity, which ties in so beautifully with what you've just shared. And when you become the witness, you realize that you are not the memory, you are not the mind, you are not the body. You know, you are this entity that is separate, distinct, and apart from it and transcends all of it, that is looking on unaffected by the ups and downs of life. And as you said, when you center yourself in that being and awareness of who you are, and you live your life from that state of being, then every thought, every word, every action becomes a blessing to the world.
Yes, it surely does. And this equal-mindedness that you speak about um, it doesn't come just by reading about it. It comes with a lot of trials and errors. Um, it's, yes, Swami says we have to give up all our desires, but sometimes we have to take the route of going through our desires and then realizing that what we desired was not that great, was not that important. And then we return to God. Sometimes bookish knowledge, when we read these things, it's okay, but most of the people say, how do I give up my desires? How do I give up my fears? I try it for one day, but the next day it's back. So this is not finding that center of the being, of being equal-minded, doesn't come by a sadhana of one day, 1 week, 10 days, 1 year. It really doesn't. It may take a lifetime, and it may take many lifetimes. But what happens is, through the process, as you're doing it, at each point you realize that you're at a much better position from the last step you took. And that itself should be enough. That itself should, most people get disheartened that, okay, I have been doing this for so long, but my mind still bothers me. I'm not able to reach the center of my being. I still feel the fears. And Swami used to always say, it's not about controlling the mind. It's not about controlling the mind. It's about witnessing the mind. It's about realizing that you are not the mind. So when you control the mind, there was a story, there's a beautiful story where one boy went to a guru and asked the guru that, I want to find that center. I want to find equal-mindedness. He said, okay, I'll give you a mantra to practice today. He said, okay. He said, what is it? He said, practice this one mantra, I am happy. He said, okay. He said, just for one day, practice this mantra and make sure you're happy. But remember one thing, don't think about a monkey, he told. And so this boy said, but I never think about a monkey. He said, that's okay. I'm just telling you, you don't think about a monkey, just think I am happy. This boy said, oh, that's very easy. Never thought about a monkey. Why would I do that? So he goes out from his guru's place and he happens to see a monkey on a tree. And he says, oh my gosh, I cannot think about the monkey. I have to think about being happy. And so it so happens, through his entire journey going home, he's trying to control the thought of not thinking about the monkey and fearing the thought that I have to be happy. So much so that when he goes home to his wife, he says, okay, I'm hungry. Why don't you make the monkey? And because that's so much on his mind, that's all he can think, right? So he goes back to the guru the next day and he says, whatever happened to me? Here I was supposed to only think about I am going to be happy. I never think about monkeys. I happened to see a monkey and I only thought about this monkey throughout the way. And then the guru said, look, if you want to be happy, you can't control the thoughts of what you don't want to be. I cannot be angry. I cannot be fearful. I cannot do this. If you constantly keep thinking that, then the guru said that you will never reach the center of your being or that equal mind. So this story came in my mind as you're telling me that the more we say that we have to control our anger, we have to control these things, the more we think about, what we are supposed to be. The sense of being comes when thoughts become placid, not when one controls the thoughts. And to become that, to return to the center of the being, what Swami told me, which was very important, which I can now apply that towards this, is he said, Baba told me once in one of the interviews, is in order for you not to be drawn to your fears, anger, and all that, you have to be concentrated on your present moment. Think of your present moment only. Then take your next step to the next present moment only. And he said, with that concentration, you will start reaching your center. So, that's I think the most the beautiful answer Swami gave us, is that to be at your center, to be equal-minded, one has to be constantly in their present moment. Then fear, doubts, the mind's restlessness won't bother you as much. Probably you said you were restless before at 3:30. You may have gone through a lot towards the day. And so for you to return to being placid and to return to the present moment was being hard. Your past moments were drawing you. But now when we speak to each other and we speak of the glory of Swami, slowly you will realize that what bothered you in the previous part of the day will be completely gone. Because your past has become so powerful. I mean, your present has become so powerful right now. So as the present is powerful, that much your restlessness reduces.
So beautifully explained, Sister Seema. And it reminds me of Swami's, one of his sayings too, that the past is gone, cannot be recalled. The future you're not sure of. The given moment is now. The present, be omnipresent. So when you live in the now, God is.
Yes,
And
you can teach God about it. True.
And it does. And when you live in the present, as you said, when you give full attention to what you're doing in the now, then there's a sense of one connectedness with the self, and then a sense of peace, that because you no longer have the burden of the past or the future, because you're living fully in the now. So beautifully said. So, Sister Seema, it leads me to another question based on what you're saying, what you've been discussing. How does the spiritual aspirant connect to that inner divinity within, but more importantly, maintain the connection through their daily activities? Sometimes we get consumed by the daily activities and we get disconnected from the self, and the ego gets involved, and then there's anger, there's greed, there's jealousy that steps in. From your experience, what can you share how we can maintain the connection of that inner self while going about our daily duties?
The first thing Swami taught me in this connection was, he said, in everything that you do, the smallest task, we first go and offer this task to me. So it could be, even if I'm making a cup of tea, I'll go and tell Swami, Swami, making a cup of tea. I'm going to make a cup of tea. I'm going to go brush my teeth. So every small, he got me into this habit, offering every small thing, a conversation with God from the time you get up, from the time to the time you go to sleep. You offer everything to him. Swami, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Now, once you offer it to him, he is standing right beside you. His strength is right beside you. So even if a fraction of fear arises, what he used to tell me is, if fear is arising, you just surrendered. You just gave me this act of yours. Go back to offering that act to me. So in that manner, constantly offering the act and surrendering, offering the act and surrendering made me realize the presence of God with me first at all times. Slowly, as you start, God becomes your best friend. Think of it as God walking with you everywhere. sitting with you. You could be in the worst situation at work, at home. You're offering it to Swami and saying, Swami, how do I react? How do I act? And in each of the situations, you have to realize if Swami is right beside you, if you were standing right next to Swami, how would you act and react? That is the key thing. You have to know and you have to realize that he's next to you. You would not talk back badly to somebody. You would not lose your temper. You would not fear. You would not feel agitated because you know he's in control. You won't want your tomorrow to come to this moment. You have to wait till the tomorrow. You have to learn to be patient. And so slowly, what happens is you realize that everything that you think is under your control is really not under your control. It is, you start realizing that there is a higher power that who has sent you is looking after you second to second and minute to minute. We think of it, we call it miracles only when a very big thing happens to us, correct? But Swami used to tell me that every moment in your life, every second in your life is a miracle because you realized I was next to you. So knowing the essence of God at every moment, surrendering to God at every moment, loving his uncertainty. You have to love his uncertainty. And I asked Swami, I said, Swami, can you tell us, can you give me a mantra? And so he looked at me, he smiled, and he called me to him. And he whispered in my ear, don't plan, don't worry. And so I was taken aback. I said, Swami, that's not a mantra. He said, yes, it is a mantra. He said, remember, every moment of your life is my moment, he said, you think you're doing things, you feel that these are the results, you feel these are your efforts, but they are all me. So if you just realize that at every point, you will have no worries at all. He says worries are born because you take too much responsibility on your shoulders. And he said 99% you put on your shoulders and 1% you give it to me and you call it surrender. But Swami said that's not real surrender. Swami said even if you give me 99% and keep 1% on your shoulder, next minute Swami said you will have 100% difficulties starting again because you're carrying them on your shoulder. So he said at every point. So I asked him, I said, Swami, if that is the case, how do I have this 100% surrender? Because my mind keeps talking to me at the same time. And he said, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. He said, at every point, be thankful to me. Be thankful to me for whatever is happening. He said, even if what you have planned, completely the opposite thing is happening, thank me, he said. He said, that way you will be free of all responsibility. So I do that nowadays. I do that throughout for so many years. There'll be something that I thought at least is predictable that is to happen. And completely the opposite is happening. And I say, thank you, Bhagwan. There must be some good in this. Thank you, Bhagwan. You're taking care. I'm not able to see. And it may look very difficult at that time. Sometimes things are not looking right at all. In fact, sometimes my close family members come and tell me, what are you saying? This is looking really bad. What do you mean? That we should be grateful. But I said, no, be grateful to God. This is not the right time for us, what we are thinking that is to happen. It may never happen. It may happen 20 years from now. But whatever is happening right now, be grateful to it. And when I think about gratitude also, there's one more small thing I want to add to that is in 2008, when I had gone to Pathi, and I was sitting that time in the front row as Swami was passing, and he looked at me. And this was amazing. He looked at me and he mouthed, thank you. So, I was wondering what it meant. And then as he passed me, he said to me from inside, you're going to have very less time with me now. So every time you see me, thank me. So that became my practice from 2008 to 2010. Every time Swami passed me in Pathi, I would say, thank you, Baba. And he used to say, I am also, we reflect God, correct? So we are mirror images. All of us are mirror images of God. So whatever you think, if you tell God, no, God, this is not going to happen, he's going to say, no, this is not going to happen. If you tell God, yes, God, this is going to happen, he will say yes. So when whatever bhava you have inside, that's what he is going to reflect. So now when the gratitude came, I thought I might as well put that experience together with this, because he said to me, if you want no difficulties in life, thank me for every moment that passes and don't forget me. As long as you remember my name and as long as you're thanking me, nothing wrong will happen to you. So that's the practice I have had for so many years, and I'm sharing it with each one.
Wonderful. And I remember one of the students sharing that Swami once said, devotion is nothing but gratitude to him.
Even in that 2008, when there were plays going on, 2008, 9 and 10, when I visited Parthi, even when there was anything going on, plays going on, anything going on, I would not look at any of that stuff. I would just look at him in the veranda, sitting on his chair, and I would keep saying, thank you, Baba. That till the end of his darshan. And those times darshans used to be till 8 o'clock. He used to leave at 7:38. He used to stay for a long period of time. And I had a wonderful time in his presence, in his physical presence, thanking him for every second until I left Pathi. And then of course I would start it at my home too. You know, it's my song literally. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Baba. I walk around doing that because it keeps me uplifted and it also makes me grounded in my present. It keeps me in my center. My mind becomes my background voice.
And Sister Seema, such an important statement you made, because even in the challenges that we face, we have to thank Swami, as you said, because this is happening for my own good. And I remember one of the students also sharing that whenever the difficulties come, Swami says, you must always say, it's happening for my own good, and it could have been worse. So be grateful.
What he says is, when things are very difficult, suppose you lose a person that is very close to you, or someone is very sick, who's very close to you, some very difficult moments like that. He always says, because you're so close to me, I'm sending you karmic processes very quickly to burn. He always used to say that. I want you to burn them quickly so that you're finished with it, and then you can come fully and completely to me. So even during those processes, you say thank you, because you say, thank you, Swami, you're allowing. It's not that God is testing you. God never tests you. This is another thing. They say God is testing you. He tested me to become. No, God only loves you. God never tests you. Whatever comes to us is because of our past. And he's right beside us in those tests. And he's listening to our prayer as we are saying, Swami, let this pass. Swami, let this pass. He's saying, yes, yes, yes. He's telling you silently, it is going to pass. Don't worry, I'm with you. Just like a mother who would tell her little child who's crossing the road, and she's teaching the child to cross the road alone. And the child is saying, come with me. And she's saying, go. You learn to cross the road quickly. I'll come on the other side. Because one day I want you to be self-confident doing this on your own. The same way God watches you. He makes you do all things on your own. And what is the purpose of that? Because he wants you to realize that how much you're depending on him, you don't even need to depend on that, because you are him. Until then, you're keeping on saying, God, come with me, God, come with me, God, come with me, God, come with me. And he's saying, I am you, but we are not able to hear that. So we keep carrying him with us. But those are the period of tests where he's trying for us to realize who we really are. That's the period of we feel a lot of times that God is giving us the difficulties in order to strengthen us. No. God is not giving you any difficulty. Whatever is coming to you, somewhere at some time, you may be very good in this birth, but at some point you have thrown a ball up in the cosmos, and that ball is coming back at you right now. And God is saying, catch the ball, catch it. Catch the ball. You've thrown this ball in the air. I'm standing right beside you. Don't worry about it. So God never punishes. God never judges. God never tests. God only loves. God only loves. God only loves. That one thing you have to remember at every second, that I am in His presence. Even your prayer, when you, Swami says, when you call me and say, Swami, please come. Swami says, sometimes he says, do you know how much time I have waited for you to call me? It took you so many this to for this prayer. I was begging you to pray for me to come beside you in order for you to feel that strength. So God is pure love. He's the ocean of love. His relationship with us is not like our human relationships with each other. It is the splendor of His love is so vast that our intellects cannot fathom it. You cannot understand that love, because for us, our love is a kind of dependency. It's a return. It's a give and take with each other. Whereas we don't understand this, but for God, it's give, 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 and we have not come to that point yet. So to understand God is impossible. But to understand, to have that one thing that He is always with us and He loves us, no matter what is happening, that at least one thing we can put in our minds. From that constant thought, little by little faith will develop. From faith, little by little, we'll start surrendering a little bit of ourselves. And then what will happen is a period will come where you will not think about your past so much. You will not blame yourself for what you did. That's another thing Swami used to not like. Don't say, Swami, I'm an angry person. Swami, I'm sorry, I did this. I'm this kind of a person. Swami says, you are labeling yourself. While you're in my presence, if you are feeling completely one with me, what is that one little shadow that you had of yourself that you're catching so much onto? God doesn't catch on to our characteristics. God doesn't catch on to our mistakes or our past. We catch on to it. And we think that He thinks of us as we think of ourselves. He doesn't think, He's not a complicated being. He has only one thought. Think about it. If you had only one thought, that is of love, period. There is no other thought in the Lord. He's just a fountain of love that's flowing. He doesn't care what you have done yesterday. He doesn't care what you're going to do tomorrow. He cares about what you are right now. With that, He will carry you across. And so if we just can think that God has no judgments, God gives us no tests, and whatever happens to us, I know there are difficult moments, there are painful moments, people suffering cancers, people being murdered. I understand all of that, but Swami says all of that is that ball you threw up in the cosmos that's coming down. Now you catch it, but while you catch it, I'm right next to you. And I'm also waiting for your this time to pass. Just during that time, don't judge him that, oh, you're standing right beside me. You could have easily, you can do miracles. You can cure me out of this. He said, I can, but then you'll have to catch the ball again. I can do that for you. But do you want to go through this entire episode again to catch this ball? You might as well do it right now in my presence while I'm here with you.
So, Sister Seema, what you're basically saying is when the challenges come, rather than praying for Swami to take them away, pray for the inner guidance and the courage and strength to navigate them so that it can awaken the divinity within. So, as you said before, accept them because they could have been things that would have come from your past action. and you have to go through them, but you're going through them with God at your side. So he will help you to navigate the situation.
You are with me, you are with me, you are with me. Till you say you are in me, you can say you're with me, you're around me. Wherever you go, you're in my altar, you're there. Until you start realizing that this voice that is talking from inside of me, there is a deeper voice inside than this mind's voice. He's already talking from inside of me. So once you start realizing that, then Swami said, where is the surrender? Who do you surrender to? There is no A and B. There is one only. But until there is A and B, and until then, Swami said, give me. I'm not only asking you, I'm going to give you all the joys, but I'm asking you, give me all your troubles. At least give those to me. At least don't give me 2 troubles and keep 10 and say, I don't think you. Last time you didn't come to my rescue. So you know what? I'll keep 10 of them because I think I can do a better job. And are you, another thing Swami used to not like is, are you going to help me? He said, what? I am you. How can I help you? I am your very center of your being. I will do everything for you. If you only silence the thoughts, the minds, the waves, the ripples that we go through, the yeses and noes with God. We are the one that are doing the yeses and noes with God. He is only echoing yes, 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 yes. We are doing that with him. So,
Yes.
go ahead.
So, Sister, what you're saying then is that, as Swami says, always affirm, I am God, I'm not different from God, I am the infinite supreme, the one reality with all possibilities. But it's just that we don't really truly believe that we are divine. It's just a mental concept and knowledge. It hasn't crystallized into a knowingness, a realization, an experience, a day-to-day, moment-to-moment relationship that he and I are one. And there's only one, there's no two. And if we live in that awareness of oneness, then our lives are purposeful and significant, and naturally love will flow, guidance will flow.
See, sometimes even Baba used to tell me this. He said, don't read too many intellectual things also. It will, Baba used to always say, the peak of intellectuality, when you have reached the absolute peak of intellectuality, that's when the beginning of spirituality starts. So the very essence of debating God, trying to understand God, creates misunderstanding of God. Understanding of God doesn't come. God reveals himself from inside of you. You can't understand God. It's not a PhD where you are going to get a degree and you have done research and this is your thesis and this is what you're going to give up. God reveals himself from inside when you, over the years, over time, and sometimes you don't even need time, when you reach an inner silence part. When you reach a spot of inner silence, that's when God reveals himself to you. You don't have to be even educated to have the gopis and the gopikas. They weren't educated, but they had Krishna in them from top to bottom. Every atom of them was Krishna. Where was their education? What school did they go to? Which books did they read? All this is not needed. Too much talking and too much trying to understand God makes you misunderstand God. Understanding of God comes when one isolates himself from his own mind. You have to know you are not yourself, the self you think you are. So how can I debate with you today, Brother Faiz, and ask you and talk to you about God? That's why for so many, when Swami has told me now to come out and speak, I tell him, Swami, I like the isolation. I like the silence where I hold my pen in my hand and I can write. Because I have nothing, no one talking back. I don't have to listen to my mind at all because God reveals himself when there is absolute silence within. When there is absolute silence within, and there is nothing in your mind that is trying to know about him, the purity inside of you, the pure essence of yourself starts giving you verses of truth, beautiful verses of truth. You won't know how this is coming. It's not that you have studied or read or heard anything. They are they are so simple that they are profound. God is very simple. You don't speaking about God in a very you can have poetic language and beautiful language, but God is very simple. He's very beautiful. He's very radiant. Um, he's that essence of you in which nothing, there is no ripple in you in that area of you. There's zero, no ripple. He's beyond peace. You can't even talk about it. When you talk about it, you dilute it. I feel like that when I'm talking to you right now. I'm trying to find words because when I write, I'm in my silence. When I write, I don't speak. But when I have to speak, I feel I am diluting the truth in order to reach that to you. It's harder because the essence of God is so simple that it cannot, like when you read to me the declaration God just spoke about you, Guru, and you asked me comment, I don't know how to comment on something so profound that is so contained in itself and so beautiful that intellectually I could respond to you, but I find it belittling to the essence of my own inner self to speak and to comment on God's word. That word is so profound that it fills you from top inside, and there is no word left. What is there to say? There is nothing to say. It's just to absorb. It's just to absorb. So you read it and you reread it and you read it. But if you comment and dissect what God said, you're losing the totality of it. You don't have anything. You've lost the sweetness of it. It's like you cutting a gulab jamun. You know what a gulab jamun is? And cutting it, and I tell you, find the sugar in it. Come on, keep cutting the gulab jamun and keep finding the sugar in it, and you will keep cutting it and cutting it. Seema, the gulab jamun and sugar is one. What are you asking me to do? So you were asking me to do that. Take his words and find the sugar out. I felt the sugar instantly. I could have shut off the Zoom meeting and gone immediately that time and been in bliss with Bhagwan. Right? But at a human level, intellectually, I have to think now, what do I tell Brother Faiz about this? Okay, Swami says, tell him the truth. You have nothing to say. I have nothing to say, Brother Faiz. I cannot say anything to you. I'm so sorry. I know this is your program, but I cannot dissect that gulab jamun of Swami. I cannot get out the sugar. It's already mixed.
Sister Seema, what is very beautiful in your sharing is that when you speak from the center of who you are, your words carry so much of potency and love and spirituality that it resonates with those who are listening to you. And it affects, it brings about a transforming effect within the listener. And I think that is so beautiful. And it ties in with what Swami says, do not speak about what you are not practicing. When you speak with what you've practiced and you've experienced, through your words resonates. It's like you carry, the person begins to feel what you are feeling through your words, even though you may not be describing it or finding the proper words, the energy of your experience is going and touching and inspiring and awakening that divinity in others. And that is such a beautiful seva.
Yeah, see, it's for 25 years, he's kept me so silent that now when he's told me to go out, I tell him, really, Swami, are you sure, Swami? Because it has been so beautiful for me to receive this and share it. But at the same time, I say, Swami, when I speak of it, will I not dilute you? What is it that I can speak of you where the other person's soul doesn't have it already? And, I think that's what you're trying to say, is that the energy itself, my helplessness in front of you sometimes will show that I don't have words for the beauty of the Lord's words. The Lord's words are so beautiful that like, for example, like I told you, even when I used to go to speak in front of Swami, and I used to have so many questions in front of him. But the moment I used to see him, and the moment his eyes were in my eyes looking at me, I had no God. I was taken. It was almost like there was no, I was riding a journey with God silently. I don't care if the interview was 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, if I had to remain silent with him and just watch. It was very, very beautiful. It's very beautiful to be in the presence of the divine. And we are so lucky. We are so lucky that we are born in this age where the Lord came down on this earth and said, come, I'll save each one of you. I will be with each one of you. I'll walk this journey with each one of you. And, we all have that's why we love these talks because we all like to hear each other's journeys, and our journeys take a little bit of a stronger step, I guess, right? As we hear each other's stories.
And Sister Seema, I just want you to know that if nobody else but Brother Faiz is inspired by just you being here, and that alone is a blessing. That alone is pleasing to Swami. Just sitting here with you, doing this, not interview, but just sharing his love, his glory, and feeling his divine presence is in itself a blessing. And as I said, Swami gave you the approval to do this interview. He told you what day, what time. So he knows why it has to be done. And
Very
I,
much right here with you and me. There's no
and,
other way I can say it.
and
He's
I always feel that when I do these interviews, that the person who is talking is like Swami talking directly to me, what I need to know, what I need to hear, what I need to experience now. And this is exactly what is happening in this interview. So the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council of Trinidad and Tobago wishes to express gratitude and appreciation to you, Sister Seema Dewan, for taking the time to share your personal journey, your love, and exalting the glories and the love and the magnificence of this wonderful avatar through your experiences with him. May Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba continue to bless and guide you, and may you continue to be the loving instrument that you are as his mission unfolds. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you so much.